Hi everyone and welcome back to Chess for Charity. In this video, I'm going to show you a super cool puzzle. It is really tricky. It's white to play and draw. So if you're not careful as white, you can lose this game. If you're not careful as black, you can lose this game. So it's white to play and draw with best play. So take a second here and just break this position down. It is complicated. It's only pawns and a king, of course, for each side on the board. See what we can come up with. It's white's move. Of course, white's pawns are going up the board here, which means you probably have to do something about this pawn who is threatening to either take or press through, and see what you can come up with. While you're thinking about the solution to this, let me encourage you to subscribe if you have not yet already. Half of the income that I earn in this channel goes directly to charity, so every like and every subscriber helps us out so much. All right, let's get started here. So you have to address this b3 pawn. That should be the immediate thought. Maybe you want to flick in a check. Maybe you're thinking about doing something like that. Well, we can talk about that. But the key is to look at this b3 pawn and say, okay, what has to be done? You have two ways that you can capture it, the a pawn and the c pawn. Here's the crux of the puzzle. One of them draws, the other one loses. Why? Well, perhaps it's important to see what black's idea is. So let's just say I'll just take with the c pawn. What's the point? Well, the thing that black is trying to do is to notice the squares around white's king. Very limited. They want to check you, force white to h5. White is currently stalemated king-wise. And ideally, if black could just run around here, just run right here, and move this pawn to g6, that would be checkmate. So white's job is to make sure that that doesn't happen. So that's the idea, right? Let's make sure it's clear what black is trying to do, what they're trying to set up. So a move like this with f4, that's not really going to do anything. That's just going to actually help black, because they want to get closer to this h7 square so they can deliver mate. That's the central idea. Did you see that idea? If not, totally okay. Now that you see the idea, now that I've given that hint, which of these moves draws, and which one of these moves loses? Okay. So I actually showed c takes b3. That is the move that loses. Why? Okay, let's go through the variation. h6, king h5. I just showed the idea here. Let's break it down in concrete terms. So black wants to run. Okay, they play king d6. Now, you might say, can I just push this pawn and keep them attached to the c file? Yes, you can, and that's the best defense. c5. Okay, well, I can't run away. I can't make it. Just to be sure this is clear, if my computer will work here, you cannot get away with this. Because look, promote, I take this pawn next, and you're not going to checkmate me. It looks promising, but this is not checkmate. This is a win for white. These pawns are simply too fast. Okay, so after this and this, and you play here. After c5, what do? I just said you can't ignore it. You have to take it. Now, what is the best resistance here? Well, black wants to just run right here. So it's in the best interest of white to keep them close. So c4, saying, hey, if you run away, I'm going to check you again. But it turns out that's not a big deal. And if you see, it's funny, if you could see the side of my screen here on the engine's going up and going down and going up and going down, which is okay. I've already studied this puzzle. I'm pretty comfortable with it. So king d6, I want to run. They play c5, and that forces you to take it again. And then they can maybe play a4, b4. The idea is that they're trying to take you away, but importantly, this is just going to be a cool race, and I love the end of this race. King d6. You can actually race this pawn up the board. Look at this. How cool is this? They check you. You play king h7. They can't stop mate. They can. They can play queen h8, but you know what I mean. They can't stop the loss. And in this position, the computer would say something like queen g3, but that does not stop it. That just delays it. And that is mate. So C takes, right here, C takes b3 is a loss for that reason. It allows the king, however they choose to do it, depending on how you push these pawns, to run and give checkmate after this pawn and king configuration is set. Now you might ask me, what is the difference between C takes and A takes? Doesn't it seem like it's the same thing? Well, it's not. A takes b3. Okay, black has the same idea. Check. The king goes here. I really want to run here, 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 and then checkmate you. That's what I want to do, right? I'm playing the black pieces. I want to do that. Unfortunately, you can't do it. King d6, same idea. I guess I should say why you can't go here. You can't go here because the race just simply does not work. Just to show it again. Check, and I'm going to hit right on f5. That's why you can't go there immediately. d6, saying, hey, if you push this, I'll take it. Well, let's look at it. They push, you take it. Now, black really wants to get back. That's the idea. Hopefully you see what I'm trying to say. They really want to get back. So what is the winning move here? Sorry, the drawing move for white. If they keep playing moves like this to check you and to push you away, you can actually go back to where you want it to go. And now this variation looks a lot like the other one. What do I mean by that? You can race the queen and they check you, and even though you just got a check and a queen, you still lose as white. Pretty amazing, because they can't stop this mate. There's a lot on it. So instead of b4 being the move, the only move to draw it is to try to stalemate yourself before black even gets the chance to go over here. That's the key of this puzzle. That is the theme. c4. The goal is to play b4, c3, just give away your pawns because you're trying to stalemate yourself. And now if they play king d6, you just run this up the board. And they have to take it. If they don't take it, if they play something like this, we'll look in a moment, but they take it, and now you're just going to run this stuff up the board. And every time they try to run away, you push a pawn. Now the difference is that the pawn that was here captured, which means now it's close enough to do this, and if you take it, it's obviously going to be stalemate like this, but we have to look at the line. We have to look at the line. What happens if instead of capturing, you make a mad dash? Does this still work? c6, can you make it? Should I go for it? Well, if I do this, it's actually going to be a loss, right? Let's look at why. Here, here, and again, we are stuck with this very pesky fork. And why is it so pesky? Because at the end of the day, this pawn is very far away from this king, and kings cannot jump like that. That's not how chess works. Let me go all the way back. So you might be curious one more time why I couldn't. What if I just ran here now? What if instead of doing it with the C pawn like this, what if I did it with the B pawn? Now they don't have this move. Does it still work now? It doesn't. B5, and you can try to run up the board like this. It's not going to work. Why? Want to take a guess? Can you see why? Not because of a threat that white has to win. Instead, a stalemate trap. They're not in time. This is so cool. It looks like mate, right? No, it's not. And now it's going to be a draw. You would do this, you lose. Because I can play king takes, and now I'm going to go here, here. This pawn's going to run up the board, and I'll win my f pawn. This is such a cool puzzle. And I really want to show another variation that I was preparing when I was making this puzzle. Well, I wasn't making the puzzle when I was preparing the video. Let's look at the variation here. So after c takes and you play this whole thing, I think this is the variation. Yeah, you try to give away your pawns. I want to show what happens if you both sides promote like this. So let's say you push the a pawn up the board. Look at what could happen. Push. And look right here. Is this the one? Maybe that's not the one. There are so many variations here. Yep, that's not the one because they can do this. Man. Sorry about that. I thought that was the one. Either way, hopefully that's not too bad. Either way, the point is that A takes B, draws, C takes B, loses because of this really cool idea where that whole configuration happens. I love this puzzle. Hopefully I didn't butcher the explanation too much. If I did, leave me some feedback. I'm always trying to get better at improving my explanations. It's not so hard. It's not so easy either. It's just kind of a mix of good and bad. But that's it for now. If you enjoyed the video, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.